is so nice to see some faces. My name is Mariam. I'm the Executive Director of the Kaplan Institute, and I've been at IIT for about a year now. And it's been tough because I've been meeting people for the first time online and continuing to have those relationships online. And I'm just so excited to be able to actually see some faces and interact in person. So thanks for being here, and I'm excited to hear about why you're interested in the Kaplan Institute. We will tell you a little bit about our mission here, but I have our entire manifesto up on the screen, and it will be on our website soon. So if you want to hear about or listen, read about what we're about, this is a good place to start. For today's session, we're doing an information session on the Kaplan Institute programs. So the types of questions that we think you have coming to our session are the ones that are here. So we've prepared some responses for a few of these questions. And if you don't feel like they're answered at the end of the presentation, come to us and we'll try our best to answer any one of these questions or any additional questions that you have. So Akshay will be running a Q&A at the end of the session. So I'll just walk through these questions, and hopefully they align with what's in your mind today. So the first question you have is, what if I'm an international student and want to start a business? It's probably the question I've heard the most since I've been here. And frankly, I used to be an international student that wanted to start a business, so I want to solve this problem. So if that's you, please come to me and we will have some options for you. Where do I go if I have a business idea? Answer to that is clear, it's here. Where do I go if I'm interested in startups that don't have a business idea? Here. So we're here to help you find business ideas too. How can I find a team? We've met many students who have an idea, but they don't have all the skill sets on their team. And we've developed some tools to really help you assess the gaps in your team and help you connect with people who can that you can add to your team. You might have a question around what it means to have an entrepreneurial mindset. This is very much core to everything we do at Illinois Tech. We believe that every student should graduate with an entrepreneurial mindset. So we'll explain to you what that means in a minute. How can I get a job or internship at a startup? So oftentimes you don't have your own business idea, you're interested in startups, but you don't necessarily want to launch your own. We have a solution for that. What do I do if I want to advance an idea from a faculty member? So if you're a graduate student specifically, you might spend a lot of time in a research lab, and you're interested in looking at commercial applications for your for the research. You can come and talk to us about that as well. Where can I learn more about IPROs or classes that I can take if I'm interested in entrepreneurship? Here, and we'll tell you about that too. Okay, so here's our agenda for today. So we'll include sort of, giving you a brief introduction about the Kaplan Institute, talk about the team so you know who to talk to if you have questions. We'll mention our programs and our events for the fall. How you could use your facility. We have this beautiful facility here, and there's actually rooms that you can use for your own sessions with friends and team members, so we'll talk through that. We won't talk through job opportunities. We might just mention them here and there, but we filled most of our positions at this stage, so so we probably won't talk much about that. And then we'll go back to the frequently asked questions. Before I get started, are there any questions that I haven't just reviewed that you might have that we should keep in mind as we walk through this presentation? Anybody? No? Okay, feel free to interrupt as we're going through the presentation. We want to hear from you. So first off, how many people have been in this building before? Oh, good. Okay. What were you doing here? Studying? Did you take an IPRO?
Not yet.
No? What's your name?
Rashad.
Rashad? Okay, nice to meet you. Anybody else? Chris?
Esports.
Esports. Did you have fun? That's great. For those of you who weren't here on Friday, we had a massive esports event that was organized by April Welch. And she brought Drake High School in, she brought a number of our trustees, Columbia School of Arts, and LG came and just completely redid this space. And students could come here and play all kinds of video games on massive screens. So it's quite an event. All right, so you basically know what happens in this building. We have massive events, we care about entrepreneurship, we run the IPRO programs, but why do we do all these things? Well, we believe that higher ed is best realized when it's applied to positive and practical change. So we want you to work on the problems that matter, real world problems, we want you to learn how to do that in a practical way, in a way that kind of aligns with how it's really done in the real world. You know, so in your classes, you're often learning a certain discipline, and you learn it by reviewing a textbook or by having conversations in the classroom. But then taking that knowledge and applying it in the real world, there's a huge gap there. And we're here to kind of fill that gap and get you ready for those to become technology leaders out in the world. So we have this vision for an evolved tech landscape in Chicago that's shaped by a new generation. And we think that new generation tech leaders are entrepreneurial, so we have a focus there, are community-minded, so you don't just create solutions for yourself, for your own self-worth, or I guess to make money, but also to support the community and make a difference in the world. And we also want our leaders to be more diverse. And I sense that we're really a melting pot here. We have students from all over the world, including our backyard. And so we have this opportunity to really play a role in this story. All right, what does it mean to have an entrepreneurial mindset? So we did a lot of work, and Jeremy Alexis, who ran the program, the IPRO program for 7 years, he's still wandering around, so you can find him, talked to a lot of entrepreneurs and came up with 3 definitions of what it means to be an entrepreneurial mindset, and they resonate with me. I hope they resonate with you too. So the first one is having a market focus, right? As an engineer, many of you in the room are engineers, and you probably spent a lot of time solving problems, and so you're probably really good problem solvers, but you probably spend less time thinking about, like, do these problems actually have potential in the market? Do they solve a real problem in the market? And being an entrepreneur, really, you need to ask yourself that question. You know, when you have a really great idea, does that idea actually solve a pain point in the market? And so we'd like to teach that. We'd like to kind of bring the market to you so that you can test your market. You can test your idea in the market and validate it. We also believe that entrepreneurs have practical conviction. So conviction is a big word. It means that you have beliefs and you stand behind your beliefs. Practical conviction means that you can do that while occasionally making decisions and maybe negotiating or compromising on those beliefs so that you can advance something. So that's what we mean by practical conviction. It's like you have strong beliefs, but you're not stubborn. You know, when you feel like you can't take a step forward without a little compromise, you'll make that compromise. Last one is asset magnetism. It's very important. I think it's been at Illinois Tech, we've taught the importance of communication for as long as Illinois Tech's been around, for 25 years. We're taking it a step forward with this notion of asset magnetism. So it's not just important for you to communicate, learn how to communicate your ideas, but you need to do it in a persuasive way. So if you're an entrepreneur, it's you and maybe 1 or 2 other team members, trying to get your idea out in the world. And many bigger companies will listen to you because you're a 3-person team. And so you have to learn how to inspire people with your idea and not much else, right? You barely have a product. And so that requires a certain level of asset magnetism. It means that you can communicate your idea, but in a persuasive way, in an inspirational way, so that people start following you. All right, so who's going to help you gain that entrepreneurial mindset here? Our staff, and a number of faculty across the colleges and institutes at Illinois Tech. But we'll start with our staff today. So I'm here, Mariam. Mahesh unfortunately couldn't make it today. Mahesh is our academic director, and he's in charge of pulling faculty into everything that we do. So you'll be seeing him. We have Akshar Patel over here. He's our managing director. And would you actually stand up so people can see you? Thank you. All right. We have Alessandra Norman, who's over at the Idea Shop. You know, so if you're building a physical product, want a prototype, Alessandra is your woman. We have Bo Rhoda, who's a professor of practice in the IPRO program. Has been around for a while. He's really great, extremely creative. So please go talk to him if you have some ideas. Emily Harrington, who's managing IPRO operations. So if you're taking IPRO class, you must know Emily. And Patrick Carnia is here. He's not here, so he's managing the Idea Shop. And so you can talk to Patrick or Alessandra if you have anything, if you have any questions around the Idea Shop. Niharika Hanwem, who's here, she's our program director. She's working on some really interesting programs that you'll hear about in a minute. And Sunny Shah, who you may have met if you've been coming to our sessions this week. He's run a few workshops already. He's our engagement manager, is in charge of our startup studio, and working with us on a business accelerator, which you'll hear about for a minute. So that is our staff. Now we also have some student workers in the mix. You know, we believe in innovating with, not for. So as we've been building our programs, we recruited students to join our team, and they've given us feedback on whether our programs actually make sense for you. So we have Audrey Gardia over here, who's helping Niharika with our program called Genesis, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute. And then we have Manny over here, who's been in charge of our social media marketing with Sunny, and she's done a wonderful job this summer. So if you go on Instagram, you'll see all the wonderful work that she's done. Am I missing any students? Oh, Matt Nichols not here, right? So there's another, so the head of Intinia, Matt Nicole, has been working with us over the summer. She's not here today, but hopefully you know who she is. All right, I'll do a quick overview of our Kaplan Institute programs. The first one is all of our programs actually fall in 3 buckets, right? So we're the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Hub for Illinois Tech. And when you think about entrepreneurship and innovation, you as students may have your own ideas, faculty may have ideas, and the community at large may have ideas as well. So all of our programs are split in 3 tracks, depending on where the idea is coming from. So our first track, and the one that we're going to talk about most today, is our student innovation track. So if you have your own idea, and there are our entrepreneurship program, the Startup Studio, and the Business Accelerator are part of this first track. And then the community and industry innovation you'll hear about in a minute from Bo, because it mostly happens through IPRO. And faculty innovation is also an IPRO-related track. In addition to those, we have pilot programs that we've run in the past 6 months. And Niharika will tell you about that. It includes getting internships with startups in the city, and also introducing students to VC investments, so investing in startups. So rather than launching your own startup, what is it like to actually do the due diligence and figure out how to calculate good calculated risks and invest in startups? Finally, if you're entrepreneurially curious, and you want to learn more about innovation entrepreneurship, but you're not really ready to take a step and participate yourself, we have these large-scale events, kind of similar to that one that we had on Friday around gaming and esports. So we have 2 coming up in the fall, possibly more. The first one is David Edwards, and if you want to go and see him talk, you just sign up. It's on our website. And David Edwards is an IIT alum. but after he left IIT, he went to MIT and worked with a prolific inventor, Bob Langer, who's created a number of big life science companies that have been very successful. And then he went on and became a biomedical engineering professor at Harvard. While he was doing that, he launched a bunch of businesses, restaurants, inhalable insulin company, and a number of other things. And so he's coming back, and he's going to introduce you to his latest company, Fend, and share a little bit about how he thinks innovation should happen. How do you come up with an idea? And how do you translate that idea into the market? So I recommend that you sign up to see that if you're at all interested in entrepreneurship. The second event is a little bit later in November. It's Ed Bellis. So Ed Bellis was a CTO and co-founder of a cybersecurity company called Kenna Security. And he just sold it this summer. He sold his company to Cisco for an undisclosed amount. So I can't tell you how much it was, but he's very well off and could retire. So he's done really well for himself. And we thought that, we're a technology institution. We'd love to expose you to a success story of a technical person launching and selling his business. So we'll have Maurice Dawson, who's a cybersecurity professor in the College of Computing, interview Ed Bellis in November. All right, so I'm going to hand it over to to Bo to come and talk about IPRO. You don't need to clap.
Hi. So I'm Ibo, and I run IPRO. A few little thoughts about IPRO, and it kind of speaks, one, to there's a good reason why IPRO is actually here at Kaplan. It didn't always be. IPRO's been around for 25 years. The reason why we initially started IPRO was the realization that in order to do really great things and solve big problems, it takes truly interdisciplinary teams. And we might have a bunch of colleges with a bunch of different disciplines, but at a certain point, none of the colleges were talking to each other. So they created IPRO to create an opportunity for the students and faculty to actually engage in interdisciplinary projects, learn from each other, and develop and innovate together. And 25 years later, here we are at Kaplan, which is the perfect place for us to be, because in order to build great companies, solve big problems, it takes viewpoints and expertise from all of you working together. And we hope that this is going to be the place where you can come do that. So as Mary pointed out, we have basically 3 big tracks, or 3 opportunities for you to engage with us at IPRO. It is required to take 2 of these classes, and that's good because it forces all of us to come together and work together. The first one is the student innovation track. And you'll be hearing a little bit more about that from Sunny, correct? Here in a second. It's a really brand new program. It's exciting, and it's really going to be focused on building new ventures from the student body. The second one is the community and industry innovation track. And this is one that I'm really focused on. And this is where we actually engage with community partners and industry partners to define problems that are very specific and current, contemporary, and really important for them to resolve. So, for example, we've got a number of partners. We have Wilson Sporting Goods. They're asking us to rethink a whole new retail experience for their golf line. This summer, we actually had a partner with United Airlines. Again, we were working directly with companies, working on real-world problems, and finding real-world solutions that they're actually going to use. So that's really exciting. You get to meet and work with some of the biggest companies that we can bring in. So that's awesome. And the third part about the IPRO Labs is the community partnerships. One of the things that we are committed to here at Illinois Tech, and especially Kaplan, is to build new bridges to our community and to really leverage our strengths and our talents in partnership with our neighbors to make Bronzeville and the greater Southside area that we live in really shine. We want to be a part of this community. And that gives us an opportunity to work directly with some really incredible partners. And then lastly, the third part of IPRO is the faculty innovation. So many of the professors across the campus, when they have a really big idea that they want to try out and bring in fresh talent, fresh ideas from different colleges, they can do an IPRO here. So for many years we've had Dan Kaplan, who's has had a class called the Antimatter Interferometer. And he promised me we're going to make it a hoverboard eventually, but I'm still waiting on it. But if they can get that, that'd be awesome. But it's a lot of really exciting ways to work with your faculty in different ways on niche and special projects and really challenge yourself as they challenge you. So that's it about IPRO. We'll be seeing you soon. Here's Startup Studio with Sonny Shaw.
Thank you, Bo. All right, yeah. Fantastic job. Hey everybody, it's good to see some familiar faces. I'm going to be talking to you about the Startup Studio and our accelerator program that's going on in the spring. So a quick show of hands, how many of you all are part of the Startup Studio already? All right, that makes me really happy to see, somehow this side of the room more so. But it's good to see a lot of people that have already been to orientation events. I don't want to completely repeat myself, and so I want to start by giving you a bit of an extra look as to why we created the Startup Studio in the first place. It's a new program, and the origin kind of comes back to this summer. We were thinking about what's the best way that we can create a startup accelerator program to help student entrepreneurs and student companies grow, develop, get investment, accelerate their business. And as we were thinking about that, we started talking to students, and we really got a good look of what it's like to be a student entrepreneur or someone interested in entrepreneurship at Illinois Tech. And we realized something really interesting, which is that there's kind of a divide. Here, I'll demonstrate it. Can you raise your hand if you're interested in entrepreneurship? Almost everybody here. That's super good to see. And now raise your hand if you have a startup idea that you're working on. And it's, a student company, you have a team, you've got kind of, the hands start to go down. And we realized that if we looked at how, other Chicago universities were running their startup accelerators, it would not be necessarily accessible to all of the students that are interested in entrepreneurship, because it's for students that are a little bit later stages with their projects. And we found that there are so many people that are passionate enough that they'll come to our events, they'll meet with us, they'll talk about entrepreneurship, and we wanted to first create something that served that group of students. And that's where the Startup Studio came. The idea is to provide you everything you need regardless of your existing experience or knowledge with entrepreneurship. So this is for students that don't have an idea yet or do, who don't already have a team or do, and maybe don't even know much about entrepreneurship, but they're willing to learn. So I often get the question, is a startup studio for me if I'm a grad student, undergrad, international, unsure about what I want to do? And the answer is always yes. And I'll talk a little bit about how we've designed this program to cater for you. The core belief is that entrepreneurship is a team sport and you only get better with practice. This is the way that we look at entrepreneurship and how we teach it. There's kind of two beliefs wrapped up into one. The first is that it's a team sport. It goes together with kind of everything we do here at the Kaplan Institute being interdisciplinary. We believe for multiple reasons there's a lot of value in working with teammates on your company. Not only is diversity of thought and perspectives and academic experience valuable, but there's a lot of psychological advantages. Having the accountability of working with somebody, having the enjoyment of it being a social experience and something that you get to do with your friends and peers. And so we're always pushing teams to form together as soon as possible so that you can really do this in the way that's best suited for you. The second piece is that you can only get better with practice. Like practicing any sport or skill, entrepreneurship is no different. And so we encourage you to get moving. Start building, start talking to customers, start walking the walk, because that's where the real insight and education comes from. And so we have videos in education which teaches the theory of entrepreneurship, but what we're always going to do as a team is push you to get out there and start learning by doing. So entrepreneurship is not an easy thing to teach. That's definitely something that we've realized, and so we're coming at it from a few different perspectives. The four big ones are listed here: curriculum, coaching, community, and events. So I'm going to just touch on each of them. Curriculum, we've compiled a series of videos that take you through the initial stages of startup development. So it's about forming a team, choosing a problem, customer discovery, prototyping, customer validation, and then developing a business plan. And this is everything that you'll need to prepare yourself for the Startup Accelerator. It seems like a lot, but we're going to basically do everything we can to move you along those steps throughout this semester. That kind of brings me into the second point, which is coaching. The best way that we can serve you is individual coaching. So we can talk to you about your idea, your challenges, and give you the specific feedback you need to make sure that you keep going and maintain momentum. The third piece is community. It's why we're all here. It's why we're going to have a Startup Studio meeting after this in the pods. You should definitely come, just to kind of have a co-working session, talk more about our ideas. It comes back to that entrepreneurship being a team sport. I really think that if you look around the room and think, okay, these are not just people that are doing the same program as me, but maybe my co-founder is sitting somewhere here, or maybe somebody that helps me overcome a big challenge. That's the way that I look at it, and so I'm going to be trying to push community as much as I can this semester. And the fourth one is events. Events like this one, events like the VC Investor Panel we're having in 2 weeks, events like the Idea Generation event that we're going to be having in 3 weeks. We're going to keep doing events because that's where innovation comes from. Next up, I want to talk about the Accelerator. So this is an accredited course in the spring. It's an IPRO course, so you get academic credit. And it's really a work-focused course. So it's a flipped classroom. The majority of your education and kind of curriculum is going to be done on your own time outside of the classroom. And then in the classroom, we're going to focus on mentorship and coaching. So in addition to having a dedicated coach, as in the Startup Studio, you're also going to have an industry mentor that's going to specifically help you week by week. And this is going to be someone in the Chicago community that is an entrepreneur or works at a company very similar to the one that you're trying to start, that has gone through the same roadmap that you're trying to walk through, and can make sure that you're doing it with the wisdom they've already gained. The big goal for this presentation, and kind of the vehicle through which we're going to be teaching all of the different aspects of startup development, is an investor pitch. So in your investor pitch, you put together a presentation deck that you take to the VC, and it walks them through your problem, solution, marketing, competition, et cetera, and it has to be extremely compelling for them to want to invest in you and your idea. And so that's the benchmark we set for our accelerator, is to prepare your business in all of those aspects to the point where if you took it to an investor or to our investment competition, the Pitch at Illinois Tech competition, it would be equally persuasive and interesting to investors. And that kind of brings me to the very last thing, an opportunity to compete for up to $50K. I'll come back to that. So last year we had Pitch at Illinois Tech at the end of the year. These are 3 of the companies that came out of our membership program that were the 3 finalists of the competition that won a total of $50K in prize money that they've now been using to kickstart the development of their startup. And so as participants of the Startup Studio and Accelerator program, you'll also have the opportunity to compete and pitch at Illinois Tech at the end of the year, and hopefully use that as an opportunity to not only win some money, but also get in front of judges and investors and start the next stage of your business. So you're probably wondering, how do you get into the Accelerator beyond participating in the Startup Studio? These are the requirements. Most importantly, you have to apply by November 15th. And I know that's 2.5 months from now, and there's a lot to do between now and then, but I promise you we're going to put together the curriculum and community and coaching in such a way that this is possible. You'll just have to work for it, which is true to entrepreneurship. As far as the specifics, you have to have 3 people on your team, and at least one of them has to enroll in the course. The other people can still participate in the Accelerator course, even if they're not formally enrolled. As far as what your business requirements are, you have to define your problem statement, create or plan a prototype, validate your solution with 20 customers, and then draft a business feasibility summary. So that's everything about Startup Studio and the Accelerator. I highly encourage you to give it a try, see if you can, yeah?
Right. So, who plans on actually applying today? A lot. Okay, are the requirements clear to you? That do you already know what you have to do, or do you have some questions?
Yeah.
You don't have to know. Yeah, Andre.
Do you have like a template for the business feasibility summary, or is that something?
We do.
Yeah. So yeah, we not only have a template for the business feasibility summary, we're going to have templates for pretty much every stage of this application. The problem statement, the prototype, your customer validation. to go hand in hand with the curriculum modules are going to be these exercise templates that will compose your application. And so hopefully you won't be doing a mad dash to fill out the accelerator application, but rather as you're completing the Startup Studio modules, in that you'll be creating your application. It's a good question. Yeah? I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
Yes, I heard it. So you wanna, you have an idea with people from another school.
Right.
That's, as long as you're a student here, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you can bring community members in. Yeah.
Yep, okay. At the end, we'll have time for questions again, if you have any then, but that is all for Startup Studio and Accelerator. Oh yeah, one more thing I want to talk about is some of the entrepreneurship resources that we have available to you. So the first one is Chicago Incubators. There's a ton of different incubators and companies in Chicago that are designed to help student entrepreneurs. For example, M-Hub is a huge prototyping lab, much like the Idea Shop, but you have many more machines and resources available to help you with building. There's also student associations and organizations on campus specific for student entrepreneurs. Antinium is a great one, really passionate about helping students find their passion and bring positivity to the world. They're also the hosts of Pitch at Illinois Tech. And then there's CEO, which is the most specifically entrepreneurial-focused organization on campus. And so I would definitely encourage you to check those out. There's also co-curricular opportunities. The Granger Innovation Prize, you probably recently saw an email about, and that's specific for innovation within computing. And so very interesting opportunity as well. There's Elevate, which is an organization to help you find experiences outside of campus, internships, hackathons, all kinds of opportunities. And then we also have legal services from our friends at Chicago Kent, who can help you with answering any legal questions or basic legal work that you'll need to do as you're building your startup. Finally, there's also a bunch of entrepreneurial courses that you can choose to take in order to round out your experience with more academic entrepreneurship. And so I would definitely encourage you to check out all of these and consider taking them to supplement the education that you get here at Kaplan Institute. And with that, yeah. These are not IPRO, although many of the IPRO courses are equally entrepreneurial and great opportunities for you to explore entrepreneurship in different ways. Yeah.
Regarding the legal help, do they help with like filing patents and
Yeah. You know, we've got a few really great people from Kent that can answer pretty much any question you have, and if not, point you to the person who can. And so, yeah.
So the big thing is, I mean, that they'll help you understand how to do a prior art search and what's the process by which you file and prosecute a patent. But you might still need to pay for the legal services. Kent also houses the Patent Hub, which is a service that's offered for free for anyone who makes below, I think, $25,000 a year. So most students qualify because they're not employed or they're only partially employed while they're getting their degrees. So the Patent Hub is you know, an initiative that's worth exploring.
Awesome. And with that, I will hand it off to Niharika to talk about some of our other student programs.
Thanks, Sunny. Hi, everyone. Really happy to see the turnout today. It's really great to see all of you. So, you know, we've been working on a lot of programs that Sunny and others in the team have spoken about. We are also piloting a few new programs, a few new initiatives here at the Kaplan Institute. One of them is the Startup Immersion Program. We actually did pilot it this past summer. And the startups that you see here, they're like five of them. And we placed 6 students from Illinois Tech into summer internships with these different startups. So this was the first pilot that we did this past summer. And, you know, we learned a lot of lessons, and we said, okay, we need to switch this up a little bit more. So we have a really ambitious plan. It's going to be really exciting. The idea is next summer we will be launching an internship program. It's going to be called the Tech Fellowship. I think we may change the naming a little bit. We might call it the Unicorn Fellowship. And I don't know if you guys know, but here in Chicago, in 2021 alone, we've had 7 unicorns. So 7 unicorn startups which are valued at more than $1 billion. So Chicago is also the #1 city in the US that has the most venture funding going into startups. So it's just a really exciting time for us to be here to really be part of the tech startup ecosystem and to really expose our students and have them really gain that experiential learning as part of internships and job placements with startups. If this is of interest to you, come find me. I'm working with Matt Nicole, who is our student worker, who's working on the design and development of this particular tech fellowship. The idea is to design it as a cohort-based fellowship program. It's going to be an opportunity to work with the best tech startups in the city. It's going to be a summer internship program, and we're actually planning to do this in collaboration with other universities in Chicago. So this is not just exclusive to Illinois Tech. This is actually something we're planning in partnership with other universities like Northwestern and so on. So this is just a really exciting opportunity. Again, very early stage. We did the first pilot, planning to do that second iteration next summer. All right, so the second pilot that we are working on, and this is a little bit further along. Andre and I have been working on this over the last couple of months. The idea is to establish a seed fund here at Illinois Tech. I don't know how many of you know what a seed fund is. Can I just get a show of hands? Hi, what's your name? Vinay. Vinay, do you want to say to the room what you think a seed fund is?
Usually like the initial round of funding, usually start usually like gambling brands, typically under $1 million.
Yeah, that's true. So seed funding is basically the stage that startups get funded before, when they're still very early stage in their journey. The idea behind Genesis Fund, previously known as Hawk Capital, so we are actually hiring for a student worker for this particular, program. So we have put the link up here in the slide. You can find it on Handshake. We're currently conducting interviews for this position, so if any of you are interested in applying, please apply as soon as possible because we just had a couple of interviews today and tomorrow. Today and yesterday, sorry. So yeah, we are partnering with the Kent College of Law, and we're also partnering with Accenture's Black Founders Development Program. The idea is to really use this particular project, the seed fund, to advance equity in entrepreneurship. It is one of the guiding principles of our work here is to really make sure that all our students have access to the social capital and the social networks that they need to truly succeed, right? So if you're interested in learning about what the world of venture capital looks like and really, gaining that investor mindset, again, come get in touch with us. I'm gonna have Andre speak a little bit about ways for you to get involved, so Andre.
Yeah, sure. Hey everyone. It's good to be here. I'm Andre. I'm a student worker, as Niharika mentioned. So I'm going to talk to you about the 2 ways that you can get involved with the Genesis Fund. First one is the Venture Capital Investment Competition, which is open for undergraduates. And it is a really prestigious investment competition that happens here in the US. It's divided into regionals and then it has the nationals. So we're putting together a team of 4 to 5 undergraduate students that are interested in investing and learning about investing. You don't need to have experience in investing at all, because we're gonna have a training program for you that's gonna teach you how to go through the process. So yeah, we're looking for 4 to 5 students that are interested in investing, and we'll put a team together. We'll go to the regional competition. If we win, which would be amazing, we get to go to the nationals, which are at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, I think. Yeah, so I think it's just a great experience all around. You get to meet other students that want to learn about becoming investors. You get to meet other VC firms. You might even get your next internship from there, maybe your next job opportunity, who knows? So definitely check it out. Email me, there's my email over there, aguardi@hawk.edu. And yeah, and then there's the link to the Handshake job application, which is the Hawk Capital interns. There you're basically becoming an analyst for the fund. And what you're doing essentially is going through our due diligence process. So you're looking at the startups, you're analyzing them, you're looking at their financials, you're looking at if it's the right idea, you're looking at the market, you're looking at the customers. So you're doing all of this analysis on the startup to really figure out if it's if it's something where the fund should invest in and how much it should invest in. So it's definitely a great learning process if you're like analytically oriented, if you like thinking about things in a really analytical way, if you like your numbers, definitely apply for that position and we'd be happy to interview you. So resending them the link to the slide deck after this? Or? Okay, awesome. So you'll have the link afterwards and you can look it up on Handshake. So I think we can move to the next one. Okay, Akshar, there you go.
All right. So I wanted to talk to you all about some of the events that are coming up on our calendar, so you know, and all of this is on our website as well, kaplan.iit.edu. But we have 3 events for the Startup Studio this fall. And like Sunny said, our responsibility is going to be to help you prepare your application for the accelerator. So these 3 events directly tie to the requirements for the accelerator, and each one will help you progress your application. So the first one is a VC investor panel happening on September 10th. And the idea there is for those of you that don't have an idea for startups or want to know how people think about startup ideas, we're going to have some venture capitalists there to talk a little bit about what they look for when they're investing in a startup. So that can help trigger some ideas, we hope. It'll also help for those of you that are interested in the investment competition or in the Genesis internship position. You could just learn more about what it's like to be a VC. The second event is specifically for finding your startup idea. So we have a couple exercises that we found that help generate startup ideas and help you think of different problems that are worth solving. So that will be more of a workshop format event on September 16th. And then the last event for Startup Studio is October 8th. We're hosting a customer discovery workshop. We're going to have someone from a company called Do Take Do come in and lead a workshop on once you have an idea and you have and a problem really that you want to solve, you have to go and talk to people. And there are structured ways and frameworks to go and do customer discovery and customer validation. So this workshop is going to help you think about how do you do those things? What are the right questions to ask? Where can you find customers? What types of questions do you ask them? How do you get that validation so you know early on that the problem that you're trying to solve is a real problem, and there's a market for it, and then the solution that you're proposing is the right solution for that problem. So those 3 events will be part of the Startup Studio. We also have other major events we're going to be doing at the KI. So like Miriam mentioned, we have David Edwards coming on October 13th. I highly recommend registering and coming for his talk. We're also going to have it's not listed here, but the day after, so October 14th, we're going to do a invite-only meeting with David Edwards. For those of you that are looking to be inspired, how does he come up with startup ideas? Like Miriam said, he's had several different creative ideas that are at the intersection of like art and science and so many other things that he's brought together. If you're interested in that invite-only opportunity to be in a small setting with David, please reach out to us. You can email me, you can email Sunny, let us know that you're interested and we'll put you on our wait list, and then we'll see who gets to meet with David for that backstage pass. October 24th, we're going to be that whole week, we're going to celebrate Women's Entrepreneurship Week. And on the 24th, we have a panel of women entrepreneurs that are going to be coming and speaking to you. So everyone is invited to that event to learn about some of the great women entrepreneurs, primarily from Chicago, that have been super successful. Miriam mentioned Ed Bellis, so Ed Bellis is coming November 10th. And then the last event I'll talk about is Innovation Day on December 3rd. Innovation Day is our campus's, every semester we celebrate all of the innovation that's happened on campus, primarily through our IPRO programs, but other research projects as well. And we host the event in person at the Kaplan Institute in Herman Hall, the building right next door. And it's an opportunity for all of you to meet all of the IPRO teams that were working on projects throughout the semester. So if you're in an IPRO, you're already going to participate in Innovation Day. It's one of the requirements. If you're not in an IPRO and you want to learn what it's like to be in an IPRO, what are some of the projects that come from IPRO classes, this is the event to be at. It's the last Friday before finals. So most people, before you kind of transition to study mode, this is a good opportunity for you to meet your fellow students. And we expect to have hundreds of people at this event, so we're excited about that. I wanted to also talk a little bit about the building. As Maria mentioned, part of my role is to manage the facility here, and I can't emphasize how happy it makes all of us to see people here. As you can imagine, the last 18 months, it's been pretty lonely and cold at the Kaplan Institute. If you didn't know, our HVAC system is dependent on the number of people in the building, so when there aren't a lot of people here, the building gets really cold. So we love having people here for multiple reasons. So I wanted to talk a little bit about our space. Please, first and foremost, our doors are open. We want you to be here. We want you to use our facility. We're open every day from 8 a.m. to midnight. At 8 o'clock, your ID will allow you to get into the building, and at 9 a.m., the doors unlock till 5 p.m., and then at 5 p.m., you have to tap your ID again. But either way, we're here. The building closes at midnight. That's the only time you'll be asked to leave. And we have a few different spaces on the first floor that you can take advantage of. And I thought it'd be cool to kind of show you how the spaces at KI fit with the process of innovation. So the first process of innovation, generally, you're ideating, you're thinking of a problem, you're ideating and collaborating with a team. That space is in the TELabs Innovation Alley. So what we're in today is our space dedicated to collaboration, ideation, working with a team, having a small meeting. We also want, for those of you that are in student organizations, we'd like for you to use this space with your student organizations. If you're having meetings, this space specifically, you can reserve for that. So please email Campus Life if you'd like to. Emily, do you mind talking to those guys over there? Please email Campus Life if you're interested in reserving TELabs Innovation Alley, and you can use this for that. Idea Shop, Alessandro's going to talk about the Idea Shop in a minute, but that's where you can prototype and test your ideas. The Morgenstern Pitch, which is the place you walked through to come in here, that place was designed for collisions. And one of our core beliefs in designing this building is that collisions fuel innovation. So if you are ever looking for a place to relax, take some cushions, grab a cup of coffee and hang out on the pitch. We want to see people there. That has actually the most outlets in the entire building, so if you're ever looking for an outlet, go to the pitch. And I'll tell you a little thing, if you're looking at the pitch, at it, the outlets spell IIT, fun fact. And then obviously, coffee is what fuels innovation as well. And the cafe is open 8 to 3 every day, and I think it's the best coffee on campus. Any questions about that? All right, with that, I'm going to hand it over to my friend Alessandro, who's going to talk about the Idea Shop. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I recognize some of you here. I'm the assistant manager at the Idea Shop. It's, for those of you who don't know, it's the prototyping makerspace on campus. A few things about the Idea Shop. It's not just for IPRO students, it's open to everyone on campus. For academic as well as personal projects. So come say hello. It's open to all current IIT students, faculty, and staff. Our default hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And okay, so let me back up. So the Idea Shop, people get really confused. It's actually split into 2 spaces, but we are one entity. So there's the makerspace, which is more heavy on the shop tools. That's 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And then our assembly area is more of our workspace. It also houses our CAD workstation computers. So it has we have Rhino, SolidWorks, Fusion 360, the Adobe Suite, other programs that can help you with your projects, like if you don't have them on your personal computer. That area is open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And you can always visit our website for more info, including if we are open currently, we have it tied to our Google Calendar. So for instance, at the beginning of the semester, we are actually still not open completely, but we will be in the next coming weeks. But you can always check our website to see if we're open. So in the Idea Shop, we offer several types of 3D printing, and come talk to me about that, but basically different types of 3D printing to suit different types of projects. CNC machining, laser cutting, general woodshop tools. We also have a sewing and embroidery station, our CAD workstation computers that I talked about. We have 3D scanner, and more. So come check us out. What's new this year? If you're a returning student, you'll notice that we have new machines. We have, thanks to a generous donation by Ed Kaplan, we were able to upgrade. We have a new CNC router with a cutting area of 4 by 8 feet. Our fusion laser cutter has a cutting area of 3 feet by 4 feet. So now we can cut large sheets of acrylic. It's also a fiber laser, which means we can mark metal. That also means we can cut PCB boards with that laser, so we don't have to mill them, we can cut them. And then we have a J55 printer, which is a polyjet. So if you think of like an inkjet printer, instead of printing ink, it prints plastic. So that printer can also do color and variable opacity. So say you need a demonstration prototype that just looks like your final prototype, you can pretty much, if you can model it, you can print it on that printer. And then our final printer is our F370. It's an FDM printer. It's what you normally think of as a 3D printer, so the extruded noodle of plastic. The nice thing about that printer is the parts are like comparable to injection molding. So if you need a functional prototype, that's the printer to go with. Yeah. Okay, so a couple things. Getting started with the Idea Shop, because we are an active lab, you do have to be safety trained. So a few of you here I recognize, if you've already been safety trained, you're good to go. For new users, our safety training will be up in a few weeks. We shifted to a hybrid safety training, so it's actually mostly online with a follow-up in-person component. So you can find all of this information on our website. So if you go to ideashop.iit.edu/safety, it'll tell you all the requirements and have the link where you can begin the safety training process. So just a brief overview. There are 3 videos, they're all about 5 minutes long, that are required to even be in the space. It covers everything from like PPE, like long pants, closed-toed, closed-heel shoes, to like needing eyeglasses or safety glasses in the makerspace, all of that. And it also just tells you more about like what we offer, right? So even if you don't have an interest in using our 4-axis CNC now, in 2 years you might, but now you know it's there. And then we have optional trainings for like some of our more specific machines if you care to use them. But again, all of that can be done on our website. Those trainings will be followed up by a quiz. Come ask me for more. It's confusing, I know. But yeah, we're here to help you. So, and also, if, you know, it doesn't just have to be for prototyping. We can help you with class projects. We can help you with personal projects. We're here for you all. We're at the other end of the building if you want to come check us out. Does anyone have questions? Yes?
Are the specifications on the website too, like for the fusion printer?
Yes, so that's another thing. Yeah, specifications for all our machines are on our website. So different 3D printers require specific geometries, wall thicknesses, otherwise your parts will collapse. It will also have tolerances of the machine, so like what you can expect from a printed part. And it also has like file types that we need, like from you, and all of that good stuff. Too much to mention right now. But yeah, it can all be, and if you can't find it, call us, email us, or come see us. Yeah. We're here for you all. Also, if you don't know anything about making, come see us. We're here for you.
Thank you. All right, so we're almost done. I'm back just to kind of cover the final few things. So we would love to connect with you, and the best way to be informed about what we're doing is to follow us on social. We like to make sure everyone knows about our events, about what we're doing, what's up at KI. So please take a moment, if you haven't already, look up at Kaplan Institute on any of the social channels that you use. We primarily post on Instagram, so please follow us on Instagram, but we're also on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Basically, what happens now? You've come, we've sat here and kind of told you everything that we do and all the programs you can get involved with. So we want to leave you, before we take questions, we want to leave you with an immediate next step. And the best immediate next step that you could take is to join our startup studio if you have an idea or if you don't have an idea. It doesn't really matter. But our startup studio is a place where you can go to meet other people that are interested in entrepreneurship and innovation, other teams that are looking to add talent If you have an idea and you need to build a team around the idea, that's the place to go. So sign up for the Startup Studio. The link is in our bio on Instagram. It's also on our website. If you go on our website and click Accelerator, in the menu, you can find all of the information that you need, including an interest form. Like Sunny mentioned, on Fridays we're hosting what we call studio time at the Kaplan Institute for the Startup Studio. So we'll be in this space again. Most of our events will be here, so just feel free to hang around here whenever you're free. And that's the next step, is to come to our Startup Studio, join our events, and then in the spring, you'll be able to apply for the accelerator that starts in the spring. And in the spring, we'll be taking our startup businesses through our program and hopefully getting you ready to go in front of some VCs and pitch at some competitions. So with that, I'll take any additional questions that folks have. I can answer them. Other people here can answer them. Any questions from people? Yeah, Risha.
Yeah, so for the VC competition, do you apply on that website, or do you have to email you?
No, you contact Andre. Andre's going to coordinate the making of the team.
Just talk to him now if you want.
Yeah. So the question was on the VC competition that Andre talked about. Talk to him. We're going to coordinate a team from Illinois Tech that registers for the competition. Other questions from people? Any? Yeah, go ahead.
We talked about that you guys have templates available for a few things. So will that also include like problem statements, or will it be just the business feasibility?
That's a really good question. So the question was, we mentioned templates, and what do we have templates for in terms of the Startup Studio and the Accelerator? We will have templates for everything. So we'll have templates on how do you write a proper problem statement, how do you do customer validation and discovery, and then we have a template for the business feasibility summary as well. So we will show you how to write it. And Sunny mentioned this a little bit. The coaching piece is a big part of the experience as well. So once you have an idea and you formulate your team of at least 3 people, and we think you're ready to kind of start building on that idea, you will be assigned a coach. And that coach will then work with you every week to help you go through and assemble your application for the accelerator. So we'll talk about the problem statement template, the customer discovery and validation work, and the business feasibility summary in a kind of one-on-one coaching setting on top of the studio time. Good questions. Other questions? Yeah.
Regarding the idea that if you don't know how to do CAD or anything like that, it's easier to help you.
If you do, yeah, that's a really good question. It doesn't matter your skill level. You could be a novice, you could be an expert. Go talk to Alessandra today, and then visit the lab, visit the idea shop, and they can help you.
One thing I forgot to mention is all our services are free. So you only pay for materials. So like we have raw materials available to purchase, but like if you bring in your own wood to laser cut, it's free. You don't pay for anything.
Yeah, that's a big deal, because a lot of places charge you just to cut your own materials. So all of this is a service to students, for students. Other questions? Yeah, of course.
Regarding the accelerator program, is it so when you apply for this, are they all automatically accepted, or is there like a criteria that needs to be?
That's a good question. It's one that I think about a lot because it's a numbers game. So at the moment, we predict that we'll probably have a few more teams than we can admit into the accelerator. I think it's really quality over quantity. So we're looking for quality teams, and it's not necessarily a quality idea. You'd like it to be, but more importantly, we're looking for a team that's willing to commit and has the drive to stick with it. So, and because the accelerator is a class, right, we kind of force your hand a little bit, because once you're in a class, there's a grade and a regular meeting time. But really, we're looking for teams that, are willing to meet every week and willing to work on the project outside of class. Because though it's a class and 3 credit hours, building a business is a 24/7 job. So we're going to look at the quality of the application, the quality of the team, how much they engaged with us this fall as we start to review the applications.
I'm going to add a quick note here. So we have our, we had something like 23 teams participate in what we call called our membership program last year, and a few people in the room were in that cohort, and they can tell you it's a lot of work. You know, building a business is something that people do in a full-time capacity, and they still don't have enough time. So you are all in school, you know, taking classes and trying to launch a business. And so what we need is people who are so passionate about their idea and have enough confidence in it by the time we launch this accelerator that they're willing to go all in. And by all in, we mean you're gonna put in that extra, that extra time. And so we really mean that. And we're gonna help you get there, right? We're gonna help you get to the point where you have confidence in your idea and, and you have a validated problem statement.
And as we bring entrepreneurs to campus to kind of connect with you, I think they'll all say that their startup was like the most important thing in their life. I see you're here with children today. More important than family sometimes is your startup. So, or pretty close, you know, tie for the top. But that's, I mean, we're not asking you to sacrifice academics by any means, but at the same time, right, we're looking for motivated people that know, like, I want to make this idea happen, I believe in it, and I'm willing to go through the ups and downs. That's a really good question. Other questions that folks have? No? Any from the staff? Questions? Well, I think we have, oh, go ahead, Sunny.
Can I make a quick note?
Yeah.
So Startup Studio members, every Friday after our Friday meeting, which is the lunch hour meeting, we're also going to do co-working in the Crown Studio pods right around the corner there. And so after this event, if you want to come, I'm going to be there doing my own work. If you want to work on your startup there, or ask me any questions. If you're not in the startup studio and you want to learn about how you can get involved, you can come talk to me there as well. And so come join us in the pods after this meeting.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we have, it's 1:50, so, you know, if you don't have questions, let's hang out, chit-chat, get to know one another, and also feel free to walk around the building. I know a lot of people have come here for class, but at least the first floor, you can see where the Crown pods are. You can look through the glass at the Idea Shop. They're closed right now for interviews and whatnot, but feel free to kind of walk around and get comfortable with the space. We'd love to see you here as much as possible. But with that, I'll close. So thank you, everyone, for coming. This is an awesome event. We still have a few lunches and waters left, so feel free to grab some. If you haven't checked in, please come check in with me. I'll check you in for the event. If you scan your QR code, you're good to go. Thanks, everyone.
Don't have a question, just want to say thank you for the work you do.
Oh, absolutely. That's why we're here. We're here to support all of you, so thank you all.